as we work on our water droplets today, we're gonna have some fun. The first thing I want you to do is decide how big a water droplet you're gonna make. You can always add another one later, but for right now, I'm gonna make just a nice kind of circular drop, and I'll pretend it's actually sitting on a blade of grass or on my notebook, right? So the fun we're gonna have today is creating contrast from the part where light reflects through the water and the part where light does not, and it casts a shadow. So on one side, we're actually going to make it super, super clear that this is the shadow side by creating sort of a shadow crescent moon all the way across it. And I want you to make it as dark as possible. If you're like me and don't actually have a white pencil or a black charcoal pencil at home, we're working with a grayscale of graphite. That's the stuff that's inside of your regular pencils. So that means we're gonna have a hard time showing the lightest lights and the darkest darks, but we can make it happen, okay? We're also gonna have some fun with some blending today. So I've filled in as dark as I can that one portion. And now on this side, I'm actually going to come over here and mirror on the outside that dark portion or that shadow on the outside of the raindrop or of your water droplet. I promise you it will look way better later, but for right now, I'm just showing you where the two shadowed sections lie. This one should be a little off center or not look as crisp and three-dimensional as you'd like it to on purpose, okay? Now, we're actually gonna take our finger. If you'd like to use a Q-tip, you can. And we're gonna spread this graphite around in here and move it around to make it a little darker all the way inside of it. If you don't have enough graphite, guess what? Come back through, add some more, and help yourself just blend it around. Moving in a circular fashion, you're just kind of blending those sections. And we really don't want to see anything on this side that looks like your regular white paper, right? You could even start to blend this corner as much as you'd like. We want to get a nice color of just light gray all throughout this entire thing without coloring it, which means we're just pushing it around with our finger. Now, we've got our darkest areas, our see-through areas, because that's what the gray really represents. And now we're going to make, with our eraser, our highlight areas. All right, so I'm going to actually take this and run it along the very edge, right where the droplet and its shadow meet. And I'm gonna erase a good portion of the droplet and the grayscale that we created. We're also gonna do the same thing here, but we're just gonna create two little reflector lines to show where the light is reflecting over it, okay? With that, if you're still having a hard time seeing how this actually looks reflective, you can blend a little bit more with your finger to create those highlights and lowlights. And then come back through and make it very, very clear, the shading and the shadow that takes place on the opposite side of the droplet. Last but not least, a little reflector line that's coming through the shadow to show where the light is shining through. And that is how you make a water droplet. If this didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, because mine definitely hasn't, I'm gonna practice again and again and again. I could do several more, maybe smaller this time around, so that it's less obvious the details that are still sticking out to you. Thanks so much for giving it a try with us. Something else you might wanna consider doing is drawing a glass of water and showing how something can be three-dimensional and holding water at the same time. I think it's pretty fun to draw water in a cup, if you ask me. Thanks so much for joining us today, my friends. We will see you tomorrow for another drawing challenge.